Hello and welcome to another video on my Luke tools for the Wick Editor. In this video, I will be running through the setup of a mouth-shaped clip inside the Wick Editor and how to use my lip service tool to generate an audio synced sequence for your characters. Let's start by showing you how to set up the mouth shapes clip. First, create the following named frames inside a clip you generate in the Wick Editor. Call it mouth shapes or something appropriate. Then create 10 blank frames and name them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and rest. In each of these, you are going to draw the correct mouth that corresponds to the ones in lip service. Please note, however, that these are not named for the sound they generate. This is the old Hanna-Barbera/Disney mouth style guide for animators. I'll go into the details of what each mouth represents a little later on. Just for now, get the 10 frames and name them using the frame inspector on the far right of the Wick Editor. Okay, now let's start drawing those mouth shapes. Go to the first frame, frame A, and use the line tool to draw 2 straight lines, one long one and one short one. Select the lines and in the path inspector, change the stroke weight. I'm going for a weight of 5, but this can be whatever suits your taste. Now, using the path cursor tool, manipulate the line to form a curve with another smaller curve at the edge. Now you have an A mouth. The A mouth or rest mouth is the one you use for the b, p, d, and n sounds. It's also used for when the character is not saying anything, so we will copy it to the rest frame as well. But as it also can be used as the start for all other mouths, we will copy it out across every frame. Now that that is done, we can go to the B mouth frame and add 3 new lines there. These will create the teeth of our character's mouth. The B mouth is used for when the sus sound or te sound is being made. So draw in the 3 new lines, shape them to look like teeth. You can add more detail for your character's teeth, but be sure to show a mouth open enough to see the teeth, not the inside of the mouth. When you are done, fill it with white, as we are going to have these teeth in other frames sit above varying open mouths. And you are done. You now can move on to the C and D mouths. You begin these mouths by copying the teeth you just created and pasting them onto the C and D frames. Then create a new layer underneath where the teeth layer is and add blank frames on that layer under the teeth for C and D. This is where we will add a rectangle shape that can be rearranged to form the inside of an open mouth. I've coloured mine darkish red, and then I'll add another line that I will fill with a lighter pinkish red for the tongue. It's good to note that while I build my shapes and layers, I'll lock or hide the layer I am not working on by choosing either the eye icon or the lock icon. For the D mouth, copy what you did for the C mouth. Paste it to the lower layer in D and resize it so the mouth is slightly larger and we can see more of the tongue. Now for E, we copy the teeth on frame B again and paste it to the E mouth frame. This mouth represents fur and ver sounds. If you make those sounds yourself, you'll note you bring your lower lip under your top teeth when you do. We need to replicate how this looks in your E mouth, so follow along as I manipulate the teeth I have created by using the path cursor. By double-clicking the teeth shape, you will find nodes get added that you can move around and curve to the desired effect. So what you end up with is a shape that looks as if the bottom lip is tucked up under the top set of teeth. Now to finish this off, add a blank frame in the second layer. We can now move to the F mouth frame. Here we will do something a little different. We are going to delete the contents there and replace it by copying both the C mouth layer frames. We will need to manipulate this to make the mouth slightly bigger and change the shape of the tongue so that it looks like it is rolled up behind the top set of teeth. This mouth is for ra and la sounds. If you make those sounds, you will notice how your tongue sits up behind your top teeth. Note, as we have copied the C mouth frames across, Wick Editor has changed the name of the frames to C copy. We need to change it back to F before we move to the G mouth frame. With the G mouth, we can do the same as F and copy the C mouth frames on both layers and paste them onto the G mouth frame. With those two layers copied, we need to delete the tongue. We are going to build a new tongue, but in a particular way. So as our G mouth represents th and t sounds, it needs the tongue to be sitting slightly out but under the top teeth. To create that tongue, we will add two oval shapes and color them the same as the other tongues. Then using the Union Boolean tool, we will weld the two shapes together. Okay, and using the Control key and the Path tool, we will delete a few of the points at the base of the tongue, then manipulate it to look the way we need for the G mouth. Remember, the Wick Editor will have changed the frame name on copy and paste of the C mouth, so we need to change its name back to G. Now for the H and I mouths. We will use almost the same method. Using the eyedropper tool, grab the style and color of the mouth interior on the G mouth frame. Then go to the H mouth frame and place another oval shape. Using the path cursor, manipulate the shape to look like a rounded mouth. This mouth is used for ow, owl, and or sounds. Okay, last mouth. This I mouth is a smaller version of the H mouth that represents spot and pool sounds. The mouth size is smaller and tighter, so manipulate the oval to look like someone blowing a kiss. And there we have it. All the mouth shapes are done. Next, we are going to jump to the main timeline and keep the clip selected. In the main timeline, I'll move the mouth to the center of the stage just so we can see it better. For this example, I want to change the frame rate to 24 frames per second in the Wick Editor settings panel. This will ensure the script generated by my lip service tool will match the frame rate in the timeline. So with the mouth shapes clip selected, open the Loop Tools panel, go to the Tools icon and click it. In the set of tools available, you will see a mouth icon that is the lip service tool. Click it open. The first thing to note is the clip name and handle has been picked up by the lip service tool. That means that the tool knows where to inject the script for the generated mouths. Also note, the frames per second is 24 frames per second by default. You can change this to higher and lower rates, but for this example, I'll leave it at 24 frames per second. So we are all set to start syncing audio and mouth shapes. To do that, we need to grab the piece of audio we want to set up mouth shapes for. I've chosen a Betty Boop song from the 1920s. Once it loads, you will be able to play it or scrub it to see where each mouth shape will sit. But before we do that, you can sort of make a start by writing in the words that are being spoken, and the lip sync tool will try to break it down into suggested mouth shapes for you. It won't nail it exactly, but it's a good place to start. So your job now is to scrub through the audio and change, delete, or add new mouth shapes for the ones you hear in the audio. If you have forgot the mouth shapes, grab a mirror or film yourself on your phone saying the words used by your character. That way you can see exactly which of the shapes will match. To change your generated mouth, select it and it will highlight yellow. Then choose the mouth shape that matches your sound. If you need to add a mouth, scroll to the area it's needed and click the Add Mouth button. It will remain highlighted and you can select a new mouth shape for that slot. Continue doing this until all the shapes match your audio. Once you're done and the words match, it's time to update the clip in Wick.
Anything that Santa would bring could never compare with you.
But before we do that, you should know that you can save your lip service timeline locally. That way, if you are interrupted or have a large project, you can come back to it at a later point. Okay, now it's time to update your mouth shapes clip with the lip service timeline. You do that by clicking the Update Wick button and closing out of the lip service panel. For a clearer view of your lip sync, you're going to need to close the Luke Tools panel as well. What we are going to do next is bring in a copy of the audio we just scrubbed to the Wick Editor stage by adding a new layer we'll name Audio. Then select Upload Asset and grab the audio file. Add a single frame on the audio layer and drop the asset onto it. Now stretch out the audio until you can see the end. When you've done that, go back and make the mouth shapes clip the same length as the audio. Now finally, you are ready to play your lip-synced animation.
Anything that Santa would bring could never compare with you.
And there you have it. A lip-synced mouth shape clip you can add to a character head and animate other body parts to add dramatic effect. Keep coming back to my channel for more and like, subscribe and comment. Also, don't forget, Wick Editor is a free online animation tool. Check out the forums for other contributors' help and input. See you in the next one.
I want you for Christmas. Anything that Santa would bring could never come.